Hey guys, welcome back to Unbeatable U. Mike G, your old pal, and E, coming at you here with the month-long course to help you build your unstoppable, unbeatable you. In day 10, we talked about creating a mantra and a vision board and whatever type of element that helps you stay connected with who you're creating yourself to be and what is that overall feeling you're trying to create, right? So we talked about creating that and priming in day 9 and creating a vision board or the mantra in day 10.
Right.
And today we're gonna start to tackle the monsters, right? Because we talked about how the vision board helps you in times where you have the rough time, right? And so what is the rough time? Well, when fear rears its ugly head, right? And I don't know about you, but fear has stopped me in my tracks more than one occasion, right? Probably has you too, and I'm sure it has you as well, right?
Fear's a biggie. Fear is the 800-pound gorilla that's constantly there. So it's we might as well recognize it and say it's not there, it's there. So fear is there, it's there for me. It's held me back, and it still tries to. Here's the secret. It still tries to hold me back occasionally, but that is why we're setting up tools to get past the fear. But today, it starts with first identifying it,
Right.
and the way we will do that today is how, E, as far as fear goes.
We're going to ask you to take a look at the worksheet below and think about how fear shows up for you. Because for some people it shows up in like procrastination.
Right.
Some people it shows up as a physical feeling in your body, right? And sometimes it shows up as something entirely different. What does it show up for you? Do you start to create limiting beliefs when you become fearful? Do you lose sleep? Do you eat? How does it show up for you? So that's number 1 in the worksheet below, right? And then what are we going to do with that?
So once we take the fear, like, hey, here's how it shows up. Here's how it shows up for me. For me, it's like stress and anxiety. I know I feel it in my stomach. So I've identified that for me. What I do now, we're going to ask you to do again, like you said in the worksheet below, is to look at the worst case scenario and best case. More so the best case, but it's always, and he's going to share a story here in a second about worst case and best case scenario. And the reason why we're going to do this, guys, is because what we focus on, we feel. So if we focus on the negative and the bad, the worst case scenario, we're going to feel lousy. But if we focus on the good, it's a whole different story that keeps us moving forward. You have a good story how this works, right?
Yeah, and focusing on the best case gets your mindset to look for best case stuff. So I started to go for my pilot's license just a short time ago, and the first time I ever got in the cockpit of a plane, my instructor sat down with me. I belted myself in. I get the headset on, and he said, "Okay, Elizabeth, what is your biggest fear?" And I said, what, about flying? He said, yeah. I said, well, plummeting to my death. And he's like, okay, well, that's a valid fear. So how do you think that might happen? I said, well, I don't really know. Maybe the engine's cut out, or I don't know, but I don't want to plummet to my death. And, so the first thing he did was take me up and install the engines and showed me that just because my engines quit, even if both engines quit, there were stages that happened before I hit the plummeting to the death period. So that's something to keep in mind. That's so important, and it stayed with me for many, many years because, we don't just go from everything is fine to all of a sudden it's over. It goes through gradations of everything is, okay, it's less fine, okay, it's not good, okay, it's really not good, and then it plummets, right? So there's ways you can catch yourself. So that's another important piece about fear. They oftentimes blow it up to be this big monster, right?
Right, and like he said, I love that example because worst case scenario is like plummeting, but focusing, and it's all what we focus on. E just explained that, no, but before you actually plummet, hit that bottom, there's a couple levels in between where you can make adjustments, and you never get to that worst case scenario. And that's what today's all about, and that's what we're going to have you do in the worksheet below.
Next step, on day 12, we're going to talk about another monster, right?
Yeah.
And this is just another biggie, and that's overwhelm. Huge showstopper for so many people. I know it has stopped me in my tracks many times, and I'm not immune to it still. So now it's a matter of finding out and recognizing when I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, so that I can put into place ways to kind of manage that. And we're going to work with you on that topic on the next day. So until then, work on that worksheet today, and that's going to be huge. And then we'll see you on day 12.
Cheers.
Cheers.